The restaurant was under siege. 3 armed men had taken hostages in the private dining room where a high-profile senator was having dinner. Police couldn't get close enough, but the blonde waitress refilling water glasses seemed unusually calm. When she disappeared into the kitchen and emerged 30 seconds later, everything changed. Because what the attackers didn't know was that she spent 8 years as a Secret Service agent specializing in executive protection. And tonight, her old instincts were about to save lives. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If this story resonates with you, please consider subscribing for more tales of extraordinary people hiding in plain sight. Romano's restaurant in Georgetown was one of Washington, D.C.'s most prestigious dining establishments. Crystal chandeliers, hand-woven carpets, and an exclusive wine collection catered to the city's elite. Tonight, the private dining room was reserved for important figures like federal judge Eleanor Hayes and Senator Marcus Davidson. Sarah Mitchell moved silently between tables with water glasses on her tray. She'd been working here for 2 years, becoming a customer favorite with her perfect service and smiling demeanor. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and in her crisp uniform, she appeared to be just another waitress. No one knew she had once been an elite Secret Service agent serving at the White House. 8 years ago, Sarah Mitchell lived a different life. She served in the Secret Service's most elite unit, the Counter Assault Team, CAT. Presidential protection, preventing terror attacks, VIP security, these were all her areas of expertise. Until that July day when everything changed. An intelligence failure at the G7 summit in Munich had cost 3 agents their lives. Sarah was the only survivor that day, but the death of innocents haunted her conscience. She resigned from the Secret Service and sought an ordinary life by hiding her identity. She thought the job she found at Romano's had allowed her to completely leave her past behind. At 8:15 p.m., Sarah approached Judge Hayes' table. "Would you like more water, Your Honor?" she asked, elegantly refilling the glass. "Thank you, Sarah," the judge replied with a warm smile of recognition. "Perfect service as always." Sarah smiled and moved away, but her sharp eyes scanned the restaurant. Her Secret Service training had never disappeared. She automatically cataloged exits, window positions, and potential threat points. Something was different tonight. 3 men entered together through the main entrance. They were well-dressed, but Sarah noticed the details. Same type of shoes, similar posture, slight bulges under their left shoulders. The appearance of a professional team. Their eyes met Sarah's for a second, and she felt a familiar coldness in the way they looked at her. Sarah headed to the kitchen, her heart beginning to race. She approached Chef Antonio. "Antonio, where's the key to the back exit?" she whispered. "What's wrong, Sarah? You don't look good." "Just tell me, please." Antonio pulled the key from under the register. Sarah took it and pulled out her phone from her apron. She called 911. "Emergency operator. There is a potential security threat at Romano's restaurant. Federal Judge Eleanor Hayes is in danger. Send help immediately." Her speech was filled with special code words for Secret Service headquarters in Virginia. When she returned to the main hall, the 3 men were moving toward the private dining room. Sarah followed them, but didn't approach. She preferred to observe from a distance. At 8:47 p.m., everything began. Suddenly, shouting erupted from the private room. Glass shattered. Senator Davidson's bodyguard was shot while drawing his weapon. Sarah's stomach clenched. It was time to act. While other waitresses fled in panic, Sarah rushed to the kitchen. She remembered the emergency bag she'd hidden 8 years ago, behind the refrigerator, where no one would look. She pulled out a SIG, SARP 229, and 2 magazines. Her training had never disappeared. The situation in the private room was deteriorating. 3 gunmen had taken Judge Hayes, Senator Davidson, and 2 civilians hostage. They had collected phones and sealed the exits. Federal Judge Eleanor Hayes, said the lead gunman with a thick Irish accent. "Time to pay for the verdicts you've given in cartel cases." Judge Hayes stood straight as she replied, "Whatever you want, leave the innocent people alone." "No one's innocent, Judge, especially you." Sarah took position in the corridor, at the angle where she could see the entrance to the private room. 3 targets, 4 hostages, enclosed space, a classic rescue operation. Everything she learned in the Secret Service came flooding back. First target, closest to the door, carrying an automatic rifle, looks experienced. Second target, by the window, watching the hostages. Third target, the leader, talking to the judge. Sarah held her breath, her old training kicking in. 1 breath, 1 trigger, 1 life. She repeated the Secret Service mantra in her mind. She took her first shot. The man by the door immediately collapsed. Sarah changed position, waiting for the second target to turn toward her. When the man turned, he faced a professional aiming with deadly precision. Second shot. Now only the leader remained. The man tried to use the judge as a shield, but Sarah's angle was perfect. She had trained for scenarios like this for years. "Drop your weapon," she shouted, her authoritative voice filling the entire room. The man turned to Sarah, his eyes filled with astonishment. He was facing someone in the waitress uniform but holding a weapon in a professional stance. "Who are you?" he asked in bewilderment. "Former Secret Service agent Sarah Mitchell, and this is your last chance." The man tried to turn his weapon toward Sarah. Sarah's third shot stopped him. Silence fell. As the smoke slowly cleared, Sarah lowered her weapon. Judge Hayes was looking at her, eyes filled with admiration and gratitude. "Sarah? You were Secret Service?" "Former," Sarah corrected. "Now I'm just a waitress." Siren sounds were approaching outside. FBI, Secret Service, and local police would arrive simultaneously. Sarah secured her weapon and slowly placed it on the table. Agent Collins entered through the door, Sarah's former partner. The astonishment on his face when he saw her told the whole story. "Sarah Mitchell, we've been looking for you for 2 years. I'm here now." Agent Collins looked around. 3 dead attackers, rescued hostages, minimal damage. "Did you do this alone?" Sarah shrugged. "Old habits don't disappear easily." The following hours were spent with interrogation, reports, and bureaucracy. Sarah gave her statement but didn't go into details. She didn't want to talk about her past. Judge Hayes approached her. "Sarah, I don't know how to thank you." "No need, Your Honor. I was just doing my job." "Which job? Waitressing or saving lives?" Sarah smiled. "Both." The media tried to grab the story, but the Secret Service protected Sarah's identity. The official statement referred to an unnamed civilian citizen. When she returned to work at Romano's, everyone looked at her with different eyes. Chef Antonio approached. "Sarah, if I'd known who you were, I wouldn't have let you work here. Too dangerous." Sarah replied with her smiling face. "Antonio, danger sometimes shows itself. I just like to be prepared." The customers had changed. They no longer saw her as just a waitress. They watched her with a mixture of respect, curiosity, and a little fear. Judge Hayes continued coming twice a week. She always requested Sarah's table. "Why do you still work here?" she asked one day. "You could return to the Secret Service." Sarah replied while refilling the water glass. "Your Honor, sometimes a person needs to lose themselves to survive. I found myself here." "What about your past? What happened in Munich?" Sarah paused. She realized the judge knew about that subject. The past doesn't change, but the future is in our hands. 3 months later, Sarah received an official offer. The Secret Service wanted her as an instructor in the VIP protection unit. She declined. Agent Collins visited her. "Why, Sarah? You were one of our best agents." "Because, Collins, I now serve in a different way. In this restaurant, with these people, not everyone serves in the White House. Some of us protect in daily life." Collins understood. He respectfully accepted Sarah's choice. 6 months later, another night, another threat, this time an armed robbery attempt. Sarah was ready again. She intervened again. Her identity remained secret again. Romano's staff had gotten used to it now. They knew what Sarah would do in any situation. She was no longer just a waitress, but a protector, security resource, and silent guardian. One evening, a young waitress approached Sarah. "Sarah, how can you stay so calm?" Sarah smiled. "Emma, life's greatest power is being prepared. Be ready for whatever happens." When her shift ended that night, Sarah went outside. Washington, D.C.'s nightlights illuminated the city. She had a message from the Secret Service director on her phone. "Sarah, the door is always open, if you need anything." Sarah deleted the message. She didn't reply. She had built herself a new life and wanted to protect this life. 2 years later, she was still working at Romano's. As customers came and went, Sarah remained constant. She was no longer just a waitress, but a guardian, protector, and hidden hero. And there was a known truth in the dark streets of Washington, D.C. Those dining at Romano's restaurant could feel safe, because the woman bringing water to their tables was actually one of the most dangerous weapons. Sometimes the most powerful protectors hide in the most invisible places. Sarah Mitchell was living proof of that.